Checkpoint Theatre presents Vulnerable, written and performed by Cheyenne Alexandria Phillips, dramaturged and directed by Jose Sulaiman, with music and sound design by Shah Tahir. 5. Virtual Reality.
Career switch. I think I can be a mass model. You know how there are hand models and foot models? I think I can be a mass model. Is that a thing yet? Can we make it a thing? I need to earn back some of my income. I really think I would make a good mass model though. First of all, I know how to wear a mask. Not like some of these idiots who still don't know that a mask needs to cover both your nose and your mouth. Don't wear it like a chin strap. It does not come with a helmet attached. At this point, seeing anyone's full face in public is like being ambushed by a flasher. It is the same level of disgust. Secondly, my general bone structure would be good. My cheeks are kind of chubby, so they would fill in the tops of any mask, and my jawline is smooth enough to hold the mask in place. I won't look like a witch with a pointy nose and chin trying to hide in it. I think I'll be able to fully showcase the mask's design and shape. Lastly, and I feel like this is a bonus, I have very expressive eyes. You can't see them in a podcast, but trust me, they're expressive. Mask photographs need not capture eyes, but it's a plus. What if your mask has an elegant pattern on it, and you need someone's expression to look classy? What if your mask has a ton of funky colors, and you need a big eye expression to accompany them? I once entertained a circle of preschoolers by doing 5 minutes of eye yoga while they watched, enraptured. I think that makes me more than qualified. Yeah, I can be a mass model. Living online. Suddenly, everyone was moving online. A big leap onto the surface of a digital moon. Mass migration to Mars will be small scale compared to the great move online 2020. Someone tell Elon Musk. Everyone was doing something online. Online tours, Zoom theaters, screening archival footage, making new Instagram accounts for random projects they started, tracking their yoga moves on their stories and hashtagging everything. The word that was often used was pivot. Every time I read it, I imagine Ross from Friends shouting it as he, Rachel, and Chandler try to maneuver a couch up their apartment stairs. There's going to be a whole generation of people listening to this and not understanding any of the references I am making. I really don't care. We have the internet now. They can go and Google what VHS and Friends are. Pivot! At some point in the year, I was asked to do 2 Instagram takeovers. Let me tell you something. That shit is hard. Like, wow. I only had to do it for a few hours, and these Insta influencers have to do it for their whole lives. At some point, don't they just think to themselves, this is the 3rd time I'm having sushi just so I can post it. Why? I don't even like raw fish. Algorithms don't help us. The world is trying to reach out for connection, and our only space to do so is offering us only what is popular or in line with our preferences. I've watched so many bullet journal YouTube videos to the point where I didn't care anymore what other people were doing. It was extremely boring, and I needed it to stop. I was becoming saturated. Right now, a tiny Ross is in my ear, screaming "Pivot!" in a squeaky, high-pitched voice. It reminds me that I am as stagnant as my Facebook wall. Even when you cannot go anywhere, you still have to be moving. Are we all sharks? If a shark stops swimming, it drowns. If we stop posting, do we cease to exist? the chatbot. 5th May 2020. Everyone is home. My dad is busy working from home. My sister is busy working from home. My mom is busy doom scrolling from home. Me, I'm just rounding up 30 days of coding, as you do. With everyone busy, I decide that I am going to build a chatbot. After just 30 days, I can't build something that can have a full-on conversation with me. I need more processing power for that. But I can build something mildly entertaining and potentially annoying. A chatbot that repeats everything I tell it. I name it Little Sister. Little Sister will repeat everything you input until the end of eternity. There is no stopping its endless loop. With a little imagination, you will hear the Little Sister chatbot respond to you in the same mocking tone that haunted your childhood. It will be one of those texts you hear rather than read. At this point, it's as if there are no adults in the house. Like the robo-parents just left you and Little Sister alone on your desktop, unsupervised. So I add a character. Dad. Dad comes in whenever you call him. It can be in any permutation of text. Dad or Dad or Dad. Dad will respond. But he always responds the same way. Go tell your mother. If Dad tells you to go talk to your mother, that means Mum must be in the picture at some point. Otherwise, why introduce another character? So I build Mum. Well, I don't build her exactly. I make her presence implied. Whenever you call for Mum, Little Sister will go, "No!" And the chat ends. Mum is the boss level we cannot defeat. It's that simple. After 30 days of coding, I basically built a typical conflict generator for any children's cartoon. This is what it has come to. I'm coding situations that I know would annoy me. That's how bored I am. Resilience. The word resilient has Latin roots, meaning bounce. It was used to describe the way frogs jumped. It was not a term of empowerment like we think it is today. It referred to the avoiding of a situation. The word resilience made its way into the English language in 1858. It was used to describe the strength and ductility of steel beams. It was not a term used for people, but for the engineering of supportive structures. It referred to the robustness of iron ships under disastrous stress. People tell me to be resilient. They tell me to weather the storm. Treat it like a residency, but at home. Great chance to learn a new skill. Excellent time to focus on yourself. They think I am a steel beam, a supporting structure, strong enough to hold, flexible enough not to break. So I try. I dabble in watercolor. I experiment with paper weaving. I practice brush lettering. I attempt flow art. I take online classes. I build that simple chatbot. I rearrange my bookshelf. I do everything I am supposed to keep my small corner of the ship up. But I don't feel like a steel beam. I feel like a frog pretending to be a steel beam. Holding my little frog arms above my head, my limbs shaking from the weight of the storm, resisting the urge to jump away. Camping online. I've sent out my resume several times this year for jobs in writing or education. My number one requirement is to be able to work from home most, if not all of the time. It's opened some interesting opportunities. I began facilitating online youth camps, full day 9 to 6 programs for 3 or 4 consecutive days. I didn't think you could put a camp online. How do we do icebreakers? Can we have meaningful discussions? Will it be like remote learning? Won't it be more tiring sitting in front of a computer the whole day? I did my first online camp in May 2020, and it was one of the best experiences of the year. I still don't know how the team managed to pull it off. Yes, there were lesson bits, but there were so many tools that could be used to engage youth. Youth are one of the hardest groups to engage. They like to pretend they're not interested or they don't care. You need to convince them to care. Some of them are just too cool for anything, and they will tell you about it. It's already a challenge in person. Online could have been a disaster. But this camp had many dance parties and breaks. Everyone participated in the conversation at some point. Later editions combined groups into a big breakout room so they could have lunch together, like a real camp. There was competition and games and so much energy. And yes, I was exhausted every night. I had to make sure my energy could be felt through broadband and wireless connections. It's not like I was going to use my energy for anything else. Might as well expel it and crash the days after. I still don't know when I can go back to face yet. It would be nice to. But I think if I do, my brain will go into hyperdrive, wondering where all the kids have been, where their parents work, who are they on the train with, and which one of those connections can come back to me. The world is not safe yet. Unless I really need to go out and do a work thing, then I will. Until then, it is just me and my computer screen. Where is the digital realm? I've been thinking about where all our data is stored. Not in terms of privacy or security of data protection, but in terms of physical space. Because of cloud technology, we can't see the hard drive or storage entity carrying all these data streams. But that does not mean it does not physically exist somewhere. There are probably plots of land as big as agricultural farms where everything is kept. With the big push to go digital, I've been wondering, will we need to build more facilities? How do we power these places? How do we keep them running? They haven't told us where, how, and what resources go into storing all the big data they have collected on us for a profit. Experts say that water and its storage might be the cause of big global conflict. Could the next reason be land? Not for expansion of territory, but for expansion of storage units. More storage units, more space online. In the years to come, the greatest influence on the global stage will be the countries that have the largest influence over the digital realm. What if, for some reason, power to these facilities get cut off? Even the backups. Just imagine it. Your entire TikTok feed is lost. All your photographs on Instagram, the long notes and blog posts you write, or the last few voice messages from a lost loved one. You can't access anything, and it is not because of hackers, but a global shutdown of these systems. If the world truly went dark, what would we do then? Aunts and uncles. 17 May 2020. Bro, we cannot see you. Gotta move the camera down. Dad and his siblings decide they are going to Zoom each other, including my aunt in Australia. It will be the first time since early 2019 that they would be in a room together. Even if it's a Zoom room. Hey, hi Cheyenne! I wave enthusiastically at the screen after stepping in to take a photo to send to the cousins' WhatsApp chat. We are watching the conversation from our separate homes. It's on the free version of Zoom, so the 6 siblings have about 45 minutes to look at each other and catch up. Last year, my aunt in Australia came down to visit. We had to keep it a secret from one of my uncles. It was his birthday. My aunt came down to surprise him. He was planning a barbecue at his house, and the entire extended family was invited. I have it on video. My dad pulls up. My aunt and her husband open the gate. My uncle stops talking to me and runs to meet his sister. There are pictures of the rest of the night. The 6 siblings together, all their spouses and kids, and the kids' spouses and their kids. Almost 30 people of 3 generations struggling to get into frame. I think it will be like that when all this is over. For the sake of the 6 people I am watching on Zoom right now, I hope it will be.
Vulnerable is developed and produced by Checkpoint Theatre. To support the creation of original Singapore work, please make a donation to Checkpoint Theatre at www.giving.sg. Checkpoint Theatre's Vulnerable, produced by Jose Sulaiman and Claire Wong, written and performed by Cheyenne Alexandria Phillips, dramaturged and directed by Jose Sulaiman, sound engineering, music and sound design by Shah Tahir, production stage manager is Sumono, assistant dramaturg Mal Yen Tay, marketing and publicity by Lam Ishon and Jane Lim, additional support by Nicole Wong. If you have the time, we would love to hear from you. Please give us your feedback by following the link in this episode's description.